I'm going to see if Matt is still there. If Matt's around, he said we're going to go walk around his workshop.
All right, hear me now.
No, we can't hear you.
Now you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. This is my shop. It's up to 45 degrees in here now, balmy evening. And let me see if I can switch to this other thing here, like that. And this here. And we're going to use this. Okay, this is on my phone. So let me back up a bit. There's my computer and the junk underneath that connects everything. This is my lathe. This little box here has got super magnets on the bottom, and it just sits in the little cavity on top there, and it holds a whole bunch of junk. I was testing my screws and my faceplate. If I was going to make this again, I would make it about an inch shorter and an inch further this way, like here, instead of, because the overhang is a little messier. I built this sort of framework up here just to hang lights from, and then realized that I could hang a bunch of other things on it, including a power strip. I could cut little things out of 2x4s to stick, sanding sealer, or make little hooks to hold things in. This holder for my drill, I power sand on the lathe. This is just a piece of PVC pipe that's big enough for my drill to fit into. This tool rack is a rack that it was a kitchen drawer, pull-out drawer thing that we weren't using. So what I did is I cut it and put these little 12-inch dowels in here to make it wider. And this is what I hold all the tools that I work with all the time with. Okay, I'm in an 11 by 20 garage bay, so things are pretty cramped in here. So I've got like wood stuck everywhere and pieces stuck everywhere. So there's my grinder so that I can have easy access to it. There's the wheel that costs 3 times what the grinder cost. Everybody has seen this little doohickey here. This is my tenon and recess measure. So it fits in my chuck jaws like that, and the outer one is minimum recess size, and it allows me to eyeball tenons and stuff. And the big hole is so it fits on my tailstock quill, so I can have really easy, quick access to it. So among other things, I needed to get lights targeted, so I started building these like articulated arms. And this is the first one I built, and it's got a little kind of clamp-on light to it, and it lets me really get the lights in close on my work when I really need it. And I then started building little ones for the cameras. So this is just plywood, and I got some of the videos off of YouTube and how to make these knobs off of YouTube, and made these little camera mounts for the cameras that I use when I do the demos. Table saw, used for holding things like a table. This is my my vacuum chuck thing, and this is this bit here goes into the outboard side of my spindle, and then I have vacuum chucks here that screw onto my spindle. I bought a tap so I can tap. Let me get one of these off here. So it's got a tap and a little piece of foam on the bottom to help seal it, and there's threads in there. I don't know if you can see that real well. And that's one of my vacuum chucks. So having it coming through this is a frugal vacuum chuck setup. And I replaced its plastic fittings with brass ones from Harbor Freight. This bit goes into my spindle here, and you just put some machine oil on it, and those are O-rings from the hardware store. You can't really see that real well, can you? So looks like that, made out of that plastic melamine or whatever that stuff is. I love my vacuum chuck. It's great for finishing bottoms, and I've got other ones. I've got big plate ones for doing platters and so on. So behind my lathe is, and I'm going to turn around here, is my detail station. So I've got like 5 or 6 Dremels, maybe more, and a Fordham. This is a Fordham. This is the Dremel. This Dremel has got a, let me turn the light on here. This Dremel has got a reciprocating handpiece on it, and it uses these flex cut knives. It behaves like a power carver. I use that sometimes for buzzing off the nubs on the bottoms of stuff. This is my Fordham handpiece, and I use these sanding mandrels to. This is a 400 grit paper on it, and it's a sanding mandrel to smooth things out if I've got some funky something that needs sanding at the end. And then for normal Dremel use, I've got 2 more sitting over here. This is a sandbag thing. It lets you, and it's got a piece of contact paper. That's stuff that goes on shelves. It's not contact paper, they call it something else, but it goes on shelves in the kitchen, no stick, whatever. It's a little bag of sand that goes inside this, and it lets you reposition things. So when you're carving something, you can change the position and shape it how you want it, so you can hold it till you carve it. This is my micro carver, bits. I got a wood burner over here. So this is all right behind my lathe. And the rest of it is just, there's a tool cabinet there. Every available bit of table space is full. Bandsaw, and behind that is a drill press, clamps. I shelve up instead of sideways because I don't have any room sideways. So it's
Can you go back to your drill press real quick? Is your drill press on a bench or is it freestanding?
No, it's freestanding.
Oh, you do have the freestanding one. Okay,
yeah.
I was gonna say mine's on a bench, and that same what you just called contact paper, because none of us can remember the name of it, but the stuff that goes in your shelf for your dishes to sit on. Right. I put that underneath my drill press on my bench, and it takes a lot of the vibration out.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, I had a bench one. I started off with a bench one, probably, another $30 Harbor Freight purchase. And these went on sale when you're like Home Depot or somebody was put them on clearance, and my ex-wife talked me into buying it. So, which was a real hard sell, I'm sure.
So she wasn't all bad.
No, she and I get along fine. So, and this here is my microwave, my shop microwave. I picked this out of somebody's trash. It's a good size. This is what I dry wood in. If you want to talk about that, I'm happy to talk about that. Your primary warning is don't use the one in the kitchen to dry your wood with. I have a whole process that I've written up if you're interested in doing that. And don't set your house on fire. So, but other than that, any other questions on any of the other stuff I've got in my shop here? Let me switch back to.
Come on, folks, jump in and ask.
Yeah, I got a question. Your PVC pipe that you use to put your drill and stuff in, how did you connect that?
I've just got 2. I've got crap on top of it. They're the calipers on top of it, but it's just a piece of wood and some carriage bolts. There's carriage bolts inside there. Let me see if I can pull it out here. So
that
it's just
a neat idea. I'm going to do that with my shop.
Totally. So it's just a couple carriage bolts and a piece of wood on top to hold it on top of my light framework there. So that's all it cool. Is.
Okay.
So I saw that online somewhere too. I was like, yeah, exactly like you guys. I'm like, that's so cool. I got to do that. Because it was always just kind of sitting around. Yes.
Can you show us something about your dust collection system?
Okay. You can see the hoses back behind there. Okay. So I've got my dust collector is here behind my lathe. It's a big one there. And there's a dust gate on the wall that goes to the table saw. Okay. There's another dust gate. Let me move this. This is my dust collection here that I use in the lathe now. I've tried a bunch of different things. But this is something I made myself. I've got the dust gate is here for it, and I can adjust it in or out. You can see that. I can't see what I'm showing here. Hang on. Okay. So I should put a knob on this, but I can, and this is just hooks over the lathe bed like this. So I can move it wherever I want on my lathe bed. and angle it however I need to this way and bring it in. Whoops. Hang on a second.
We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm still here. My phone just disconnected on it on me. Hang on. All right, I'm gonna have to switch back here. So I think my phone's out of juice. Let me switch to this one here. There we go. Sorry, guys.
Matt, is it possible to get a copy of your microwave procedure?
Yeah, that's actually, if you're a Facebook friend of mine, or even if you're not, because my stuff is all public, it's in my Facebook notes. But write me on Facebook, and I'll send you a copy of it. Basically, you know, I always microwave at 50% power. I don't go any higher than that, no matter how wet or how dry something is. I never go for more than 7 minutes at 50% power. If it's fairly dry, I start at like 3 minutes at 50% power. So, and pay attention, if you start smelling smoke, pull it out. I put the piece in a brown paper bag. I use brown paper bags. You put it in the brown paper bag, and if you don't have a moisture detector or you don't have a scale, you microwave it by stages until when you pull it out of the microwave, the brown paper bag is dry to the touch. If it's damp, it's still pushing moisture out.
All right. What's your name on Facebook?
I think I'm facebook.com/infinite.thread.
Matt, I'm looking at that box on top of your headstock.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wait, show that one more time. I'm going to take a screenshot.
Oh, I wiped my finger across it there. It's facebook.com/infinite.thread.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Can I ask you if you would send that to our webmaster, David?
Sure.
And he would add it to our website.
I will do that.
Matt, I'm looking at that
No
box.
problem. I just wrote it down.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I said, I'm looking at that box on top of your headstock. That is a shavings collector.
It is, and I occasionally have to take stuff out and blow it out, but you know, if you're not spraying stuff up, you know, it doesn't fill up. Surprisingly, most of my shavings are going out that way rather than into the box. So
I was going to say you must have just cleaned it today.
I did. I swept too.
Swept? What the heck is that?
Hey, Matt, I'd like to say that I've been wanting to, or thinking about making the a box like that, and hadn't figured out how, you know, to actually attach it yet. So I
put these super magnets on the
magnets,
bottom.
yes.
I put the neodymium magnets on the bottom, so these suckers.
Right. Yes.
So they're inch in diameter. I epoxied them in there. I think I have 2 of them in there. So they hold it in there really good. So that's it. I took my the little, you know, the Powermatics, they come with a pad that goes on top of here, and I was forever blowing sandpaper off or knocking stuff off, and I was like, you know, I need to do something to hold stuff out there better. I really like the convenience of having a place to put stuff right so close. So
yes, my big lathe, don't have no, I mean, it's like sitting in the middle of the room, like, you know, and nothing around it. So nothing to sit down the sandpaper or your tool or anything.
when I'm working, I really like having things very close, where I can put the tool real quick and grab the next one, or whatever. So you're not just throwing stuff on the lathe bed. You know, I inevitably end up knocking things on the floor if I do that. So I really like having this. And I've got buddies of mine who have those, those carts. You can buy those carts at Harbor Freight, the hand carts with the wheels on the bottom, and they use those and they put their stuff in the cart, So that's another good idea. Yes. So, but I had this framework here, and I've just been making little things, little fixtures to hold stuff, and nailing things into my framework, or screwing things in and so on. So you know, once you figure out that you can make things to hold things on the bandsaw from 2x4s, you know, it opens up a world of ways to hold things.
Right. My small lathe, I got a small lathe and sitting on a desk, you know, like an old school desk, school teacher desk. So it's got plenty of room, you know. I put the tools underneath, or I got a pile of sandpaper beside it and a lot of sawdust. But on my big lathe, you know, there's no place to sit anything down.
Yeah, this is a real useful. Like I say, I'd make it a little shorter. I think I've got this. This is like 3 inches tall. I'd make it like 2 inches tall, the walls.
Okay.
And I wouldn't. I you can't really see this from the camera, but let me shift this other one here. Cut to this one here and raise it up a little bit. This overhang here is a little bothersome. So I would move it, you know, move it so it didn't overhang this or this part. I mean, it doesn't overhang here. It's flush here on this side, but it overhangs a little bit too far here, and I find that gets in my way sometimes when I'm trying to do something back in here where I shouldn't be.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's just a box that's sitting on top of your lathe, yes?
Yeah. I tell you what. Let me pop some of this stuff out. It's just got 2 magnets in the bottom of it.
Okay.
And the magnets are what hold it on top of the lathe.
So you just epoxied your magnets on top of the metal part on your lathe.
No, the magnets are in the bottom of the wood. Okay. What I did is I built a little sort of a thing that's the same size as that black pad that comes with the Powermatic. And then I used my Forstner bits and glued the magnets into the holes. So I don't know.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
I got the same thing on my Powermatic, and I use those little magnetic trays from or not from Home Depot, from Harbor Freight. You can get round ones or square ones or rectangular shaped ones.
Yep.
And it's not as big as your wooden box, and it doesn't hang over the edge.
I got my magnetic tray from Harbor Freight right here.
Right. Same
Where'd
thing.
you get those magnets?
You can
The
Probably
magnets
have
you can
about
order
10 of
bunch
them things.
Yeah, a bunch of them places. Like there's my Powermatic thing that going on top of the lathe, and it's I use that to measure.
A great source for magnets is K&J Magnetics. K&J, the ampersand and.
Got it. Thank you, Eddie.
Be careful of the
metal
thickness and the size.
I use them on all kinds of things. I use them to hold tools. I use them to hold, like if I'm playing something out on paper, I use it to hold the paper on some places. So I use them in a lot. You know, some of my tools have magnets on the handles. So
the magnet on the metal trays is strong enough to go right through that rubber pad. You don't have to take the pad off.
There you go. I didn't know that they were that strong.
The handy part of that little tray is if you are having difficulties with the little screws when you're changing the jaws on your chucks, that little tray right under your chuck when you're changing it catches those screws.
Yeah, mine has my faceplate screws. Y'all were talking about faceplate screws earlier. That's, you know, mine has got my 1 1/4 inch Spax faceplate screws in there. So that's where I keep them. But I do the same. I do the same thing. I do the same thing with. I probably have another one around here. I do the same thing with my faceplate screws.
Matt, did you see what AEW had a thing on wood drying? I guess about a month ago, and they talked about microwave drying wood in the microwave. And the way he did it was a little different. I have not tried it, but he took a 10-inch bowl, rough turned it, put it in the microwave for about 15 minutes, but put a cup of water in with it. Important, the water sat in there with it. And then he ran it. He did not open the door, let it cool all the way back down before he opened the door. And the key was that he was pushing it, maintain moisture on the outside of the bowl, which helped reduce checking on the outside while it dried. It forced the water from the inside out.
Well, that seems like that would work. I mean, I'm certainly open to suggestion. I will say this is that I've set 2 pieces on fire in the microwave drying them. And one of them was a smaller piece. what I do is I rough turn also. Okay, rough turn to about 3/4 inch or an inch thick, and then I microwave dry. And one of the reasons why I microwave for say 3 to 7 minutes is I want to be able to catch any micro cracks that develop. So if you start getting like about the second or third time after you're done, like the third time, you might see some micro cracks start to develop. And at that point, you hit them with real thin super glue and you fix the problem. And a micro crack is something very thin and very small.
And what this guy was saying is keeping the cup of water in the microwave and letting it cool down in the microwave prevented those micro cracks or reduced those micro cracking on the outside of the thing, because it's not drying real quick on the outside, but the moisture in there stays with it to help reduce the micro cracking on the outside of it.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
It made perfect sense. I haven't tried it, but it made perfectly good sense.
That's the whole purpose of putting it in the paper bag. And some people put shavings in the paper bag with it too. You want to reduce the rate of moisture. You want it to come out evenly. So that's the whole purpose of the paper bag is the paper bag is containing the moisture, around the wood. So it comes out evenly. You don't get one spot that's dry and one spot that's still wet, So that would make sense too. I mean, the paper bag thing works for me, but maybe I'll try that this summer. So thanks, Craig.
It's on AAW. Check out what they said, what the guy said. It sounded pretty interesting.
I will. I'll look it up. Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
You've been giving us some pretty good tips and stuff tonight.
Amen.
Wanted to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. You're welcome.
You've got a problem there with your wire. So I'm going to give you a tip. You need to get a bobby pin.
I'm sorry, with my what?
The wire from your headset.
Oh, yeah.
Keeps coming off your shoulder.
Well, usually, like.
Get a bobby pin and put that wire.
What's a bobby pin? My hair's like this. I've never had a bobby pin.
A safety pin will work. Pin that thing to your hat, and it'll stay off behind your shoulder.
Well, usually what I do is I put the headset on before I put on the sweatshirt, the hat, and the hood. So it's down my back inside the sweatshirt, and it's not a problem. Just tonight I did.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And if y'all really want to hurt his feelings, mail him a comb.
Yeah, I had somebody mail me bacon spice the other day, and I don't even know who that is yet. So,
Eddie, when's the last time you've seen a comb?
Say again, Ronnie.
I said, when's the last time you've seen a comb?
My wife uses one occasionally.
There you go.
You see it laying on the counter.
Yeah. My granddaughter asked me what happened to my hair. She looked at my wedding pictures from 30 years ago or so. And she looks at me, she looks at the picture, she looks back at me and she says, okay, I got to ask, what happened to the hair? So, sometimes they can be brutal.
You can relate, Eddie.
Are there any other questions I can answer?
Yes. Can you tell us about your camera system? What are you using there?
I am using webcams. This camera here is a Logitech C920 that I bought in January before the prices went through the roof and they became hard to find. The other two were both $40. That one and my tailstock one are both $40 Chinese cameras I bought when I could find them. So they're all just webcams. They all look like this. They're just various different. I'm a very frugal guy. I don't have a lot of extra money to spend on stuff, so I went cheap. So
you run through a switcher or through your laptop?
It's all going right to the laptop via USB. I am using vMix software that allows me to switch between the cameras. And it lets me do things like put a PowerPoint up if I want to. So that's all through vMix software, but you can do it just straight through Zoom if you wanted to.
Are you on a Mac or DOS?
I'm on DOS, Windows 10. It's an old i5 laptop, and on Lucid, if you guys are interested in doing the cameras and stuff, lucidwoodturners.com is a great website to get in touch with. They've got a lot of tips and tricks and people who will help you through stuff. There's a lot of tech discussion on there that's above my pay grade, but one of the things that they recommend was that you use at least an i7 laptop. This is an i5 laptop. It's old. It's what I had. So I adapted and improvised, and it seems to work pretty good. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
vMix will not run on a Mac. It has to run on a Windows-based machine.
Yeah, there is software on a Mac that will do the mixing, the camera mixing for you. I am not conversant with it because I don't have a Mac, but I know that there is stuff that works on the Mac if that's what you want to do. One of the things that they do say is that the USB platform will not allow you to put two USB 2.0 webcams on the same hub. So you've got to have, realistically, if you're going to run 3 webcams and they're all USB and they're all USB 2.0, you got 3 USB ports in your computer for it. It doesn't matter how many hubs you stick on there, they'll conflict with each other or something. So hope that answers that question.
Anybody else for that tonight?
Matt, what was the name of that website to get tips about the cameras?
lucidwoodturners.com. I'll put it in chat here.
Remember, folks, you can save the chat. You go to the chat section, lower right-hand corner, 3 little dots in a square, click it and say save chat. But do it before you leave.
Let me do it this way. I sent it to somebody, so woodturners.com. All right, I can't see what's happening in chat. Something's funky with my chat tonight, so.
It's there. It's there,
Thank
Matt.
you. Thank you. You do have to join Lucid Woodturners to see the forums, but the forums are worth it. There's a lot of tech discussion. Some people are using some really nice camera setups with camcorders and HDMI switching and so on that gives you some really nice pictures and so on. But I don't have that.
Matt, the quality pictures are great.
Thank you. I am a little unhappy with the color correction on the Chinese cameras. If I could get 2 more Logitech cameras, I would use those because I think that the light correction and the color representation on the Logitech cameras, the C920 and the C922, are better. But that's a personal opinion based on my own experience. I need a lot of light when I turn, so I've got some fairly bright. I go with high lumen LEDs. And it tends to wash out a bit in the cameras. To give you an idea, when I turn off the main overhead light on my lathe, this is what I look like. Okay, it's you know, I think that the color correction and the light management is better on the Logitech cameras. That's my own experience based on my lighting here. So. And I know those Logitechs are really hard to find, but you can find these inexpensive Chinese webcams, and they will set you up. You know, if you want to do this, you can get it done this way. So, and building these camera arms, these articulating arms, that's a lot of fun. Figuring out how it all works and making it work, and being able to do things like adjust the camera out to where you want it, and you know,
nice.
So I can do lots of stuff with this. So, rotate it out over top of the lathe bed and zoom it back up, and so on. So good times.
Nice.
So you got to use that scrap 2x4 and scrap plywood for something. Might as well be articulating camera and light arms. What's that?
You're already in the 2x4 club. It's all right.
Good. I was making the gnome noses and gnome cap top things on a 2x4 the other day. So
it's an important point. It's not as easy to cut as some woods. It will develop your skills.
Yep. It doesn't dull your tools as hard because it's soft. You really got to slice the wood well, or you get tear out quick. So it helps train your tool presentation.
Yep, sure does. Matt, I really appreciate you spending your time with us this evening and giving us all these tips and hints and a walk around your shop. I appreciate it. Folks, a lot of the information that you've asked for tonight is in our chat section. If you'd like to check it out, do so. And as I said a moment or so ago, you can save the chat to your computer, but we also save it to our website. David does that. So if you'd like to take a look at what we do on our programs, it's all there. And we go right to it.